an unmarked white envelope addressed to me. That was the start of everything. I'm Sarah, almost hitting 60. I divorced my husband 15 years ago because of his affair. Since then, I've been living alone, but for the past year, I've been living with my second son and his girlfriend, Daisy. My eldest son, Tom, now 35, lives in an apartment near his workplace. I was living a peaceful life, working part-time, until one day this envelope without a sender, crudely marked with my address and name, arrived. Inside was a bill from a hotel. What's this? Upon closer inspection, I found that the bill was not addressed to me but to my eldest son, Tom. And it appeared to be a bill for the wedding and reception expenses. The date was about 2 weeks ago. What does this mean? Did Tom get married? Indeed, Tom had a girlfriend I met just once a few months ago. But at that time, there was no talk of marriage. Frankly, I didn't have a great impression of the woman. Her name was Michelle, I believe, and she barely made eye contact and kept saying and oh, as if displeased with something. Could it be that Tom married her? I hurriedly called Tom, but he didn't answer, possibly because he was at work. I tried to leave a message on the landline phone of the apartment where my son lives alone, and a woman answered. It was Michelle. Upon realizing the call was from me, she said with annoyance, this is why I told Tom to get rid of this landline. What does this mean? Did you two get married? Are you living together there? I bombarded her with questions, to which Michelle responded in a robotic tone. We got married. We're living together. So what? I received a bill from the hotel. I didn't hear a word about a wedding. Oh, it arrived already. I sent that because I was hoping you would pay, Michelle answered nonchalantly. We chose a venue where we could pay later. We paid the deposit, but we thought you should handle the rest. They had a wedding without even inviting me, and now they expect me to pay. I was utterly speechless. Michelle, sounding irritated but clear, said, Tom insisted on marrying me. I found the whole mother-in-law thing too bothersome and refused many times. So naturally, you should be the one to pay. If you refuse, do you realize Tom will be buried in debt? Hearing her cold voice snapped me back to reality. What does Tom say about this? He says it's fine, of course. By the way, don't bother trying to contact him. I made sure your number is blocked. So that's why I couldn't get through earlier. I might as well tell you now, other than for weddings, funerals, and such, please don't contact us at all. And even for those, we refuse anything that costs money. Just wait a minute. Why are you avoiding me so much? It's obvious, isn't it? A mother-in-law is nothing but a thorn in the eye. Besides, you're poor after your divorce, right? We can't have you begging us for money. While I was panicking, I was also furious and retorted, If you think I'm so poor, why the heck are you sending me this bill? That's a separate issue. Please make sure to pay it. With that, Michelle hung up abruptly. I stood there holding the receiver, completely stunned. Mom! It was my second son, Jack's voice, that brought me back to my senses. It seemed hours had passed since that phone call, and I was standing in a dark room. Tears overflowed as I explained everything to Jack. He hadn't heard a word about the marriage from Tom and was now fuming with anger. It's impossible. I mean, that wife of his, she seems like a woman of bad character, doesn't she? I thought she'd be a good match for my brother. That's right. Tom, who was spoiled by my late mother-in-law, looked down on me since he was a child. By middle school, he was calling me old hag and worthless, and together with my mother-in-law and ex-husband, he kept on treating me horribly. Jack was the one who always stood up for me. After my divorce, I had been living alone for a long time, thinking I might be lonely. My kind son invited me to move in with him and his girlfriend, Daisy. What should I do with this bill? It's over $20,000. I could pay it with the alimony from my ex-husband, but I honestly don't want to use that money. I was thinking of saving it for your and Daisy's wedding, or for when you have kids. Both my second son and his girlfriend Daisy have always been very kind to me, so I had decided to use all the alimony and property settlement money which my stingy ex-husband had scrimped and saved for these two. Then my son said, "That money is yours, Mom. You don't have to use it for us, and it's even more unthinkable to use it for my brother." He took the bill from me. "I'll throw this away at work. Mom, you remember what my brother has done to you, right? You absolutely must not pay this. Even if my eldest son was awful, I was the one who bore him, so if I had the bill, I would definitely end up paying it." Jack knew that. Honestly, I was relieved. 2 weeks later, Michelle called me. "Hey, why haven't you paid yet? The venue just called me because the payment deadline has passed. That I've discussed it with my second son, and we've decided there's no need to pay. Besides, can't you handle it with the cash gifts from the wedding?" I managed to say what I wanted to, though my heart was pounding. Then Michelle flew into a rage. "We've moved, and we've already spent all the cash gifts. What are you going to do about this?" "What? You moved? Where to?" "Shut up. It doesn't matter." Realizing this woman truly wants nothing to do with me, I made up my mind and said, "All right, I'll make a counteroffer. I'll give you $10,000, and in exchange we part ways. No contact, not even for weddings or funerals. We live as if the other does not exist. How about that?" But Michelle wasn't satisfied. $10,000 is not enough. I need at least $20,000. "What are you thinking? Not inviting me to the wedding, not telling me where you've moved to, and still asking for $20,000. "I don't care. You only have about 20 years left to live anyway. We're going to live twice as long as you, so I might as well want all your money." "That's just cruel." "Well, we're going to get that $20,000 from you one way or another. Once you pay, as per your wish, we'll cut ties with you." I didn't want anything to do with this woman anymore, so I agreed to her conditions. Jack would probably be angry if he knew, but I didn't want to be troubled by Tom and his wife anymore. A year later, Jack married Daisy. They were about to set up a new home, and though I was planning to live alone, they both asked me to live with them, so I gave them not only a wedding gift, but also prepaid 2 years' rent for their new place and some money to help with their mortgage. Then Michelle called again. "Tom's brother and his wife are building a house, aren't they? You helped them, right? Because of you, Tom is working 2 jobs and is exhausted. Since you only gave us a mere $20,000, it seems she heard about our new living situation somewhere." I was dumbfounded. "But you agreed to that back then. I can't change it now." "Shut up. We're having a baby. What are you going to do about that?" "Oh, really? Congratulations. But remember, we agreed to cut all ties no matter what. So I'm not going to give you a penny no matter what," she said. I had decided not to get involved anymore and stood my ground. "You think you're so high and mighty. Even if your grandchild is born, I won't let you see them. You'll regret it." And with that, Michelle hung up. Apparently, she thinks that grandchild is the ultimate trump card to control a mother-in-law. I would love to have a grandchild, but I'm already about to have one. Actually, twins, a boy and a girl. Daisy is 8 months pregnant. I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in Tom's child at all. Half a year later, Daisy gave birth safely, and I was busily but happily caring for the twins. That's when I got an email with a photo from my eldest son, Tom. It seemed that Michelle had also given birth, and the photo showed a lovely baby with Michelle and Tom. But since we had already cut ties, it was none of my concern. When I kept ignoring it, Michelle called me, seemingly out of numbness. Did you see the picture? Isn't it incredibly cute? Yeah, yes, it is. So what do you want? Don't talk like that. I went out of my way to show you your grandchild, and it's your eldest grandson. You could at least send a congratulatory gift. What? I thought we agreed no contact except for weddings, funerals, and such. Well, yes, that was the agreement, but normally a parent would send a congratulatory gift or something. I knew it would come to this. No, I'm sticking to the agreement with you, Michelle. With that said, Michelle, seeming to realize it was futile, handed the phone to Tom. That's the deal between you and Michelle, right? It's got nothing to do with me. Send me the celebratory money. He's always been good at twisting logic. It's your eldest grandson, you know. Don't you think you should take care of him? According to Tom, how they treat their grandchild will determine how I'm treated in my old age. I really don't need you to worry about my old age. Huh? You think you can rely on Jack, huh? With 2 kids of his own, do you really think he can take care of you in your old age? I'm not planning to rely on Jack and his family. So what are you going to do? I know you didn't get much from Dad's alimony. Wouldn't it be better to cozy up to us now? With an air of triumph, Tom said that to him. I replied, like I said, I'll be fine. I've been paying into a personal pension insurance since I was single. It's an old policy, so the rates are good. And I get about $800 every month starting this year. Plus, I've worked long enough to get about $800 in government pension too. I can live on both combined. After hearing that, Tom seemed to be in shock. There was silence for a while before he sputtered, But that will be just enough. If nothing happens when you get older and your body breaks down, you'll come crawling to us for help. Then, laughing, I answered, Don't worry, I cancelled the life insurance where you were the beneficiary. I had taken out life insurance policies for Tom and Jack when they were born, with each of them as the beneficiary. I had cancelled Tom's to pay off that $20,000. There's plenty of money from the cancellation, so don't worry. Cancellation? Are you serious? Pity, isn't it? If I hadn't cancelled it, you would have gotten about $100,000 when I pass away. No way. If you're going to blame someone, blame Michelle. She was the one who said to get the $20,000 from me by any means necessary. Actually, the cancellation refund was only about $50,000, so I had about $3,000 left. Not as much as to shock Tom, but there was no obligation to tell him the exact amount. Pleased with the silent shock on Tom's end, I hung up the phone. Afterward, it seemed Tom and Michelle had a huge fight. There's talk of divorce, but discussions about alimony and child support are at a stalemate, and they're in a state of living separately within the same house. It's like seeing the end of someone obsessed with money. As for me, I started working part-time as a cleaner to ensure I don't burden Jack and his family financially during my retirement. Warmly welcomed by my son and his wife, and with 2 grandchildren, I